back, everyone. We are here with episode number 21 of the Plugged In Podcast. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Full of fake energy?
I'm channeling it.
It's a beautiful day.
Live off of my coffee. Live? Fresh?
It is.
Fresh.
Nate, it is a beautiful day. So we're in, I was going to say November. I guess the drop date is November.
Yeah.
It's actually Halloween.
It is. I just took my skeleton
Happy
earrings
Halloween.
off.
But it's supposed to be, you told me when you came in, 78 degrees today?
I can't keep up. This is why all of our children are sick. Because it's like
Yeah, Friday
crazy.
it's going to be like 50, 54, 53.
Oh my Lanta.
It keeps going. There's like huge swings
Yeah.
in the weather. And I guess that's like a normal fall thing for New England. But it's like dramatic.
Our first October here, it snowed.
Yeah.
And now we just broke out shorts today.
Nice.
What?
Well, 78 degrees, that'll match perfectly. Mackenzie is going for trick-or-treating tonight as a little beautiful butterfly.
Nice.
So she's got her wings, and she's all about that. And Caleb is the rainbow skeleton that he's going as.
I forgot about the rainbow skeleton.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I don't have a rant today, but I do have a Mackenzie story if we have time for it.
Yes,
Of course.
go for it.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago was Caleb's 4th birthday, and I don't know what possessed me to do this, but we were in the car, and I was looking up on Spotify happy birthday songs, and then there's this track title that says the Happy Birthday Fart Song.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, of course, I gotta play it.
Classic dad move.
Yeah. So we play this fart song,
my
and like
gosh.
the
The
kids
fart
think
song.
it is the funniest thing they have ever heard. So like the entire drive to daycare, Caleb is just like, repeat, play it again, play it again, play it again. So we played it, like 30 times. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's Happy Birthday in the version of farts. Yes. So super mature.
Yeah.
So his birthday passes, and we don't play this again. We don't talk about it. Don't even mention it. I would say 10 days later. So Mackenzie's really into, she's trying to sing right now. That's part of her communication. So all the time, literally all the time, she's like, twinkle, twinkle. And then it gets interchanged with mommy, mommy. And so she'll just be singing Twinkle all the time. Well, so we're driving to church a couple Sundays ago, and we're in the car. And again, this song has not been referenced for 10 days, nothing. And so Mackenzie just in the back seat, and this is, again, pretty usual for her. And we just hear twinkle, twinkle. So we just died. We died laughing and then she absolutely hammed it up. So then she was just
She's like, I have an audience.
The more
Here we
reaction,
go.
I'm going to keep going.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
but
so funny.
Little baby Mackenzie, she thought that was just the
yeah.
funniest thing. It was incredible.
It's awesome.
Oh, I love her so much. She's hilarious. She has such a little personality.
She does have a personality.
She's so cute.
I feel like she gets it from not from her so much from her daycare, but when she comes home from daycare, she's got her hair in a bun or it's neatly braided. I feel so bad because I sent her to daycare and her hair kind of looks like a rag doll. I'm just
They're
I'm
let's
sorry.
fix you up, baby.
I'm sorry, girl. I tried my best. I gotta learn how to do
Girl dad.
Yeah. I gotta learn how to do the hair because I'm not up to par yet.
You'll get there.
Watch some YouTube videos.
Oh, that's my life. I'm
Here we
in
go.
it. Yeah. Pretty soon I'll be doing the French braid.
Master braider and twists and bows and barrettes, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the time this episode drops, we have probably eclipsed Election Day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's hard to say right now before the election. Obviously, it's razor close margin, and one of the things with the Salvation Army is the organization remains apolitical.
Yep.
So we don't have anything to say on either side of the aisle. But I think it's really important. Excuse me. It's really important for all of us to keep the country as a whole in our prayers.
Yeah.
I think again, this episode will drop on the other side of the election, but I think on the front side of it, we're all kind of wondering what's going to happen.
Yeah.
In either direction, we just hope that everybody is within themselves and staying safe and just kind of, all the, I don't know. Do you guys want
keeping their witness intact?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, it's really easy to allow political conversations and arguments to divide us. But we are called to be peacemakers, agents of peace in a world full of chaos. And so people are watching us, the church, a little closer than they would be watching network news, and they expect something different from us. And so we have a responsibility to pray, a responsibility to live like Jesus and to model compassion and grace. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the strongest outward witness of a Christian is not anything they say.
Yeah.
It's not any invitation to church. It's not any powerful prayer. It's how someone observes you from afar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they can notice if you are a person filled with the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is evident to the world.
Right.
So as we're in the other side of the election, we're just,
Yeah.
what Nate said, all the things that Nate said. We
Yeah.
are a witness to the world.
Yep.
Well, moving past the election, so got a couple things coming up on today's episode. A little bit later, we're going to invite the newest member
Yay.
of the Massachusetts Music Department. We've been...
Where's your claps?
No, I'm not. I pressed the wrong button last time.
I know. That's what I was hoping for
Do
again.
you think it's this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other one. I was trying
There
to
we
set
go.
you up.
I was a little bit nervous.
Feeling the love.
Yeah, so Chris Molinaro is going to be coming on the
Yeah.
show. He started last February.
Yeah.
So the year is rolling through. He's now kind of in the second program season with us.
Yeah.
And I have a billion great things to say about Chris.
know.
Maybe you guys want to chime in first.
Oh, I love Chris. Chris is Jen used to say at camp if she could copy and paste Chris as a staff member, like that's what she would do, because he was just always so versatile. When there was a cabin that needed to be filled in, he went from being, creative arts director to the woodchucks counselor, or he was just so versatile. He understood the mission, he understood the impact, and was just like, whatever you need me to do, let's go. And always did it with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
If he needed to mow the lawn, like he was just doing whatever he needed to do.
Yep.
And he's just, and that's who he is in life. He's just a kind-hearted, go with the flow, passionate person. And we just love Chris.
The word that comes to my mind when I think of Chris is genuine.
Yes.
Because what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
He's relatable. He deeply cares about the things that you care about. And every conversation you have with him, you walk away knowing that you were listened to and
Yeah.
truly valued what was on your heart. And so that's the type of person he is, and continues to bless us and also bless this division using his gifts and the opportunities God has given him.
Yep.
Yeah, when you said the word in my mind was very close to authentic. Mine was genuine. You said authentic, right?
I said genuine.
Okay.
Speaking
I was
of
like, what's happening?
listening to the conversation.
Sorry. Well, I think
Both words fit.
Yeah, I think
It's
they go.
okay.
I think they go hand in hand. When you watch Chris teach music, really teach
Yeah.
anything,
Yep.
you can just see right away that he is invested in that person, not only learning
Yes.
but having a good time,
Yes.
feeling valued.
Yep.
It's just it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
To have him come into the department and just see kind of the direction we're heading. So
Yeah.
we're going to hear his story here in a little bit. I just wanted to tease that Chris Molinaro coming up later in the episode. Before we get to that, so in kind of the season of election and casting a vote, we're going to play a quick game of Family Feud.
Dun, 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 dun. Is that the song?
Yeah, that's it. That's
Oh,
it.
I instantly
I was
like
thinking-
second guessed
No,
myself.
I was thinking maybe I would add it in
We're going to
post.
harmonize.
No, but then I was wondering, no, we'll probably get slapped with copyright stuff.
Oh,
and-
true.
It stinks when you're the music director because you're supposed to be like the home of knowledge for copyright law, and there is nothing that I think I hate more or am less interested
Yes.
in than copyright law. It's important.
I've seen your annual emails go out.
Oh yeah, it's important, but there's nothing less interesting to me. But anyways, so Family Feud.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
Just options.
mine is boring, so I'm just gonna go first.
All right, go ahead. I doubt it's boring.
No. So it's kind of Thanksgiving. No, it's actually boring. So it's like it's legitimately
You're like, let
boring.
me set the standard. Okay.
I read through like 100 different questions, and I had analysis.
And
for
you
all-
arrived at the boring one.
Yeah, I really did. Okay. All right. So are you ready for this?
Okay,
Yes.
let's
All
go.
right, Nate and Loretta, name a popular Thanksgiving tradition.
Can I go first?
Go first, yeah.
Watching football.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the number one answer.
Yay!
That was 32 people said watching football.
Wow.
Okay, Nate,
Number one answer. Wow.
name a Thanksgiving tradition.
Um,
I'm sorry. I really apologize.
I love it.
Eating food. Eating Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay, I'm gonna say yes. Okay, that's the third answer. Having a big family dinner. 22 people. 22 people.
Yeah.
All right, so Loretta, name a Thanksgiving tradition.
Um.
There's only 2 more answers on the board.
I have no idea besides food and football. Cooking?
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Yes.
1X.
Good try.
What
Good
a
try.
brat.
Okay, Nate, name a Thanksgiving tradition.
Thanksgiving tradition. Getting ready for Black Friday shopping.
That's a good one, but that's 2 X's.
All right, so
And back to Loretta.
a boring one, but clearly I can't think of anything else. All right, so we've said football,
You said
You said having a big dinner and watching football is what you said.
but family is included in that dinner one, right? Because I was going to say getting together with family. That's what I'm going to say.
I'll accept it for the point of the podcast, but taking a family photo is on there. So that's number 4. All right, one more answer. 28 people said this.
tradition.
Nate, it's what your dad or your grandpa makes you do around the table.
Oh.
Thank you. Share what you are thankful for.
Share what you are thankful for.
Is that how this is going to go?
I wouldn't have got that, Matt.
All right, name a... Oh, don't look. I just dropped my iPad.
You really panicked there. Like I was actually going to...
Not Loretta
There's no
overreacting.
losers anyway.
Okay, name a place where you would never want to hear someone say, oops.
The bathroom.
In line with Mackenzie's fart story? Nope, not
Oh,
one.
wow.
I'm gonna say the dentist.
Oh, that's good.
Doctor.
Okay, I'll give you operating room.
Yeah.
That's number 1 answer. Operating room.
Yep.
Okay, so we got 1.
I was going to say like your wedding vows. Like,
I take thee, Rachel.
oops.
That's not 1.
Okay. A pilot?
Yes, on an airplane.
yeah.
That's
Oops.
good.
Yes.
That's good.
We're flying at altitude of 30.
Oops. Can you imagine? 1 is a place you could work.
Okay. that narrows it down.
Nate, think.
So like an animal cage, like
What? Was that the first thing that came to your mind when you were like, a place I can work? An animal cage.
no, I was thinking like someone accidentally let out like
What's
the
in your-
lions at the zoo.
What's in your brain?
Someone, I don't know. They released the animals.
No.
Tiger
that's-
King. I don't know.
No,
Wow.
you're so far off.
Okay, never
I'm
mind.
just this is gonna give it away.
Well, I gave all of them to you.
Chernobyl.
Oh, a nuclear reactor.
Wow.
Yes.
Oops. Okay.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, far stretch from
From letting the lions.
letting
out.
the lions
Yeah.
out. And then
Animal cage.
in
I told you I'm good for one idea.
A place someone works. Animal cage.
I'm just gonna give you the last one. So I
Okay.
can't.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then the last one is during a job interview.
Okay. Yeah.
Those were the ones.
So we're going to take a quick break on the Plugged In podcast so Nate can revisit his animal cage.
Yeah.
And no, the next segment coming up is our interview with Chris Molinaro. Also, later in the podcast, so we talked about this in our last episode, but if you are following along with us in the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, we are into the book this week that talks about the solution. So coming back from the break, we'll have Chris Molinaro. All right, welcome back to part 2, episode number 21 of the Plugged In podcast. And like we prefaced earlier, we are happy to have special guest with us today, the newest member of the Massachusetts Music Department in the Salvation Army. Welcome to the show, Chris Molinaro.
Happy to be here. I love it. I got it. You only have 4 there. I think when I've been watching the podcast, I assumed you got like a whole thing.
Oh no, it's
And they're
much.
really tiny.
yeah.
we're a
I guess
small
the tiny
operation.
thing, yeah.
So by the time this drops, the previous episode will have aired, but I made a huge mistake because I pressed the wrong button. So we introduced the guest, and then I was mortified.
That's tough.
I was absolutely mortified.
It was great.
It was like, we know it's an accident. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, sorry. But it was really funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Chris, all of us around the table, we know you, and now we've been working with you for the past several months. But Chris, you are a listener of the Plugged In
Absolutely.
podcast,
Yep.
and maybe one of our earliest
Yep.
listeners
Yeah.
from the very beginning. Not that matters, but it's good to have you on the show. Finally, I think you're probably the most like mentioned name on the podcast that hasn't been on the show yet.
And I remember saying to Nate, like right away when I saw the first podcast, I was like, hey, if you need someone to talk about camp, like bring me on, because I love camp and I think that's a great way to bring people in. And then, things have happened since. So I'm not here to necessarily just talk about camp, but
I know. Isn't it crazy?
I will talk about it if you want me to.
Oh yeah,
Well, it was so funny because early on we were like, we need to get Chris on, but then you were working in the school
Right.
system.
Yeah.
We were
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, we
And you guys don't
record
want to
during the-
record after,
Well, we
it's a
tried
long
that
day.
once, and we had like kids and pack and plays. It just was not great.
Yeah.
But
Well,
now we're here.
for all of the listeners out there, this is your handbell guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so
It
this
is.
is
Oh, I'm
the-
going to talk about
the
that. So don't
handbell
worry about it.
aficionado. So, no, Chris, for all the listeners out there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your story, where you came from, kind of what has brought you to this point today, where you're
Sure.
at?
Well, I'll start right away by just saying, if you didn't know, I didn't grow up in the Salvation Army. I did grow up in church. I was a part of the Methodist Church growing up in New Hampshire all the way through high school, and went off to Gordon College. There's it's a Christian school, but lots of denominations there. Started to sort of, figure out my own faith. And then after Gordon College, I kind of struggled to find my own church. Until just the last year, I've started going to the Quincy Corps and feel very welcome and comfortable there. But as far as my music history, like I said, I grew up in the church, and I was very grateful that my church had a lot of musical offerings. My dad was actually my first church music director. He did the
Aw.
children's choir. So for as long as I can remember,
That's so cool.
I started singing with him, and then around third grade, joined the the youth choir, and was a part of that through middle school, and then into high school joined the adult choir. So I'd been singing in church for a very long time, and
Yeah.
I often my sister Corinne was also singing through that in that choir for a long time, and I often, hey, do you remember this song we sang? And because we have such fond memories of that experience and working with that music director. But I also, in that same church, fell in love with handbells. Yeah, handbells.
Yeah.
And there was actually two choirs. There was there we go, for handbells.
You got to get some bells. Ding, 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 ding.
There was a children's handbell choir, and then there was also an adult choir. So same thing. I
That's so
kind of was
cool.
playing in both. But what was great about the children's, the children's handbell choir was it wasn't just for children. Our parents came along. My mom was there with me. My sisters were there. It was awesome. And it's a great way to access music.
Yeah.
If you don't love to sing, can't play a brass instrument, handbells, I think is a great way to have accessible music.
Yeah.
Great way to just be introduced to notation as well.
Yeah.
Like our first choir director or handbell choir director would highlight our notes. If you're assigned to G and A, she would highlight those two for you, so you knew which notes. Because sometimes handbell, sheet music can have a lot of notes on the same staff. So, very accessible, and making music with others right away was awesome. I also had a wonderful music experience in the public schools. A very, very strong music department in Rochester, New Hampshire. Very inspired by all the music teachers I had from elementary through high school. And that kind of led me to want to, be a music teacher myself and give back to kids what I got.
Nice.
So went to Gordon College for music ed, graduated and stayed here in Massachusetts, was in Dedham Public Schools for almost 6 years.
Wow.
And loved it very, very much. Got a lot out of that experience. And along the way was also involved in Camp Wonderland. I got involved back in 2016, never left, still there, so even with this job. But I think along the way through those 8 years at Camp Wonderland, met a lot of wonderful people, strong connections in the Army, and looking back now, I can see that God was encouraging me to be a part of this, because my next step was coming here and kind of bring both my worlds together. This idea of church music and music teaching. And I think since I've been in this job since February, I've really enjoyed piecing those together again. And I think this is where, I'm supposed to be. So that's kind of what's brought me here. Very appreciative of everyone that has supported me along the way to get to this point. And I'm loving what I'm doing. Everyone asks me, like, how's the new job? How's it working with Matt? And same response every time: living the dream. And some people are like, some people say that sarcastically. Absolutely not. No ounce of sarcasm in that. I am living the dream.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome. Can you tell us all? You've had a lot of different jobs at Camp Wonderland.
oh yeah.
And different names too,
Yeah.
like Pioneer
Oh, yeah.
Chris and like Tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, just yesterday at Fitchburg, a teen, Emmy, walked around the corner at the core and was like, "Hey, you're at camp," and I was like, "Yeah, I was." She's like, "Why are you here?" Well, now I'm teaching music.
Nice.
So just another camp job.
Yeah.
But I started out as Pioneer Director, and that's just another. I mean, having this job is an act of God. Like He opened this door for me,
Yeah.
but starting at camp as Pioneer Director, only God could be that funny because, friends, I've never been an outdoorsy person until I started working at camp. And I was just, my friend went the year before and he encouraged me to join. So I was like, all right, let's see what I can do. And I was 19 at the time, I think 19, 20. I had decided I was going to be a junior counselor because I didn't know what that meant, but I was way too old to be a junior counselor. And then got on the phone with Elizabeth, and Elizabeth said, actually, I think because you're a teacher or want to be a teacher, I think a program director would be great for you, which I agreed. And Pioneer Director was the available one. So I said, sure. And then little did I know I'd be sleeping outside 2 nights a week in a tent and with bugs. And the Pioneer site is such a great place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Great place, but putting up tents
Really
and taking
force
them down
that one out there.
it's funny because as I've had different jobs, I actually haven't been out to the Pioneer site in like a couple summers, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Some PTSD, right?
But anyway, love the Pioneer Director, love that program and that opportunity for kids to camp out. It really is a great program. It's just not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway,
and it's so funny because I mean, up until the last summer you worked, last summer, it was like Chris was the resident fire builder.
Right. It just
create
kept
a fire.
following me
Where's
because
Chris?
even the next job after Pioneer Director, halfway through my second summer, I became unit leader.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, you still got to sleep out because those are your boys out there. Like, oh, come on.
get
And then
away.
the next summer, I was still unit leader, and I'd still fight Elizabeth. Hey, it's going to be storming tonight.
Yeah.
You think we could not go? No, get out there. There was one time where we left in the middle of the night due to a storm, and that was insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Pioneer Director, unit leader, and then archery director, which is a lot of people, because I did that, I think, for 3 summers, a lot of the people I see remember that. And so they call me Archery Chris, or someone called me like Range Daddy Chris. I don't like that one. I don't like
Range
that one.
Daddy
I don't like
Chris.
that. I just put that out there. Maybe we can cut that out. Anyway.
No. That's going to be on your employee evaluation now. Range Daddy Chris.
Oh boy. And that was great too, because that's another new skill that I actually did not know until I signed up for that job. And like a month before I started that summer, I got certified. And during that was like a 8-hour course to get certified to teach kids how to use weapons. I never touched a bow and arrow in that certification. It wasn't until I got there the week before camp started that I was like, can I set up the range? Because I got to practice. And I was pretty good at it, and I really enjoyed doing it. And just this idea of doing the same lesson over and over again for every group got a little mundane, but
Sure.
they enjoyed it so much,
Yeah.
and it was nice that so many of them said that was their favorite part of the week. Being not for me, but to give them that opportunity to to work on that skill. And that last summer that I did, I was like, all right, you're really good at this. Hey, in a couple of years, you should come do this so I don't have to do it anymore.
That's how we do it, right? You
Just keep coming back.
Yeah.
And then along the way, I also was the creative arts director,
Yep.
which was pretty cool. That got me into writing the skits for Morning Disco, which has been one of my favorite jobs I've had.
Yeah.
Just that creative outlet, but also it's a way to preach to the kids, and I really appreciated that. I've also filled in. Oh, and I was also the
Everywhere.
canteen queen with my fiancée Katie. That was incredible, because it wasn't like most canteen queens have, like, that's been their job. Like that they do canteen, they go out and shop and have some other roles. But I was also doing archery at the time. So I'd go like do archery and then quick book it to the canteen while Katie's getting things set up. I'd open the windows and whatever. And Katie did all the shopping. Thankfully, I didn't have to go out and do that.
Nice.
But that was a learning experience too. It just and patience,
Yes.
with
Oh
those
my
kids and with
goodness.
those counselors. But really fun. And like I said, I filled in for. And then I've also been counseling.
I love it.
Not
Love it.
the
It's
highlight
great.
of my experience.
No, it's awesome.
Because I counseled for 2 teen camps. One 2 summers ago, and the summer before that. And such a unique opportunity.
Yeah.
To develop the relationship with those kids.
Yeah.
But I think a week is enough for me.
And teen camp is a doozy.
Oh yeah,
That's tough.
yeah. Anyway, so that's my experience at camp. And now I get to run the music camp and the music conservatory every summer. And that was an incredible experience this summer to kind of, I'd been a part of music camp, but to see it from this perspective was incredible.
So your current title is now a divisional music program manager. So for listeners of the podcast, can you walk us through now? I know no week is the same, no 2 days are the same, but in general, give us a kind of a overview of what your week in the Massachusetts division might look like.
Yeah, so on any given Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, you might find me in your core, teaching lessons. I'm going to about 8 or 9 core on a rotation. When I started in the spring, I was only going to a few, so there were a couple that I was going to every week, which was wonderful. But because we were able to start up some programs that weren't happening in the spring, I'm usually going to a core every other week, and the officers are typically filling in that week that I'm not there and doing some great things. Like in Haverhill, when I go, I'm doing singing and some brass, and when I'm not there, Lynn Ann's doing
Mage.
Mage is doing
shout out to Mage,
timbrels and some other worship arts, which is great. The Fall River Corps, they have a great program, and honestly, they don't need me. Majors Castile are doing a great job there, but when I'm there, I'm able to kind of supplement what they're doing, and they're able to do a little bit more. And then when I'm not there, they're just still killing it, and they're doing a great job there. But along the way, if I'm not in a core teaching, I'm thinking about these other programs such as YAM, Star Search, Music Camp, Music Conservatory, and preparing for that. We're still ways out from the finale of YAM and Star Search, but I'm already starting to think about what those events are going to be like, and hoping that every year we'll get more people involved, and every year it'll be more impressive and more fun and all this stuff. So I really enjoy that idea of looking forward to the future, and preparing for those events.
We had a segment all the way back in, I say season 1, but we kind of dropped. We don't really have seasons, but there's a segment called So Stinkin' Proud Of. And we went around the table and we just like to share. At the beginning, it was youth based, but it can really be open to the whole division. So the people that you're working with, or just things that are going on in your life, is there someone or something that you're just so stinking proud of that you have to share?
Yeah, I could absolutely talk about this forever, so please tell me to shut up if I go too long. But I'll try to narrow it down a little bit. I'll start big. The youth that came out to Music Conservatory was incredible. I really, really enjoyed. I knew a lot of them already, but getting to develop that relationship over the course of 2 weeks was incredible, and I'm so proud of everything that they accomplished. And I mean, giving up 2 weeks of your summer like that is a sacrifice, and then most of them also came out to music camp. That's a third week, and I think Naomi Ross came to like 5 sessions this summer. So it's a lot, but I appreciated their sacrifice and their dedication to what they're doing. So I was so stinking proud of them. But if I could narrow it down a little bit, I would say I'm really stinking proud of Mason and Meadow Helly. Their dedication to improving their talents and being involved in everything that they can. They're coming to YAM, their weekly, I think twice a week, core programs in Fall River, and came to Music Conservatory Music Camp and participated in Star Search. Their singing company in Fall River was able to go to Hershey's, and they were there for that. So, and I think Meadow was also part of the Timber Brigade there. So they're so involved, and I'm so proud of them. And I'll also say I'm just, again, so proud of the Fall River Corps. They have regularly 20 plus kids coming every week, like twice a week, and it's just, and I love it so much. I mentioned this at YAM, but when I walk into the Corps and they all like, yeah, Chris, I'm like, thank you, that was the boost I needed. Thank you. When I'm feeling like I don't know if I'm, they give me the boost I need, and I really love going down there. But yeah, so stinking proud of Mason and Meadow, and again, I could go on and on about the different programs and the kids that I'm so stinking proud of. But I think the one thing that I'll say one last thing, I promise. That I'm so proud of is that every core program that I go to is so unique, and it's unique to the community that's there. It's unique to their needs, to their desires, and I'm so happy that I'm not doing the same archery lesson. I'm programming, and the officers are programming to what they want and what skills they have, and that's so great that we get to just learn about that community, those kids,
Yeah.
those adults, because I'm teaching a lot of adults too, which is
Sure.
wonderful. So when I go to Lynn, it's that after school program of young kids, like 25 like first graders. I love that.
Yeah.
And then I go to Boston Central after that, and it's like some young kids to adults, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's so unique, and so I love that about our core programs.
I remember a long time, one of the best pieces of advice that I got from Captain Jay Neggs at the time. I think many of us will know Captain Jay. But he said to me, if you're ever like kind of feeling weighted down by whatever you want to, excuse me, whatever you want to nitpick in the Salvation Army, whether it's the bureaucracy or divisional headquarters or all those things, Captain Jay said, if you need to pick me up, and this is, you sparked this. He's like, get in the Corps, get back on the frontline ministry, do some teaching, be with the kids, be with the people, and you'll quickly remember like why we're here,
Yeah.
and what we're
absolutely.
doing. And it's like an antidote for the soul. So we have a few, I don't want to say silly. Well, we have some silly. We have a few more questions for Chris. We're going to take a quick break here on the Plugged In podcast. Can you stay with us, Chris?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more with Chris Molinaro.